How's it going, guys? Joe here. Today I'm going to attempt to do a quick vibe coding project. So let's just jump right in. So I should probably real quickly iterate on what vibe coding is. So this is a new phenomenon that's been going around relatively recently where basically AI or artificial intelligence has gotten to the point where it is sort of integrated into your coding environments where you actually write code, and it has AI capabilities within there. Like it can modify existing code in a code base project. It can remove code. It can add code and files and all that stuff. It can even run terminal commands automatically. And obviously, you give it permission to do so. But yeah, it can run terminal commands, and then you can have it ask every time, or else just automatically run it. Like if you want to go do something else, then you could have it develop something and observe the program's output when it runs the program through the terminal. And I've done this where it's run for like hours at a time, and it was pretty awesome because it's able to monitor the output of the program and then based on that make certain tweaks. It's pretty cool. But obviously it's a little bit, there's some caveats to that. Like sometimes the output won't always be helpful, and it can kind of lose efficiency based on how it approaches certain things. Usually because if you're not there to always supervise it, it could go down an unexpected path and you might not catch it when it does that. As a result, it'll be going down this path for a little while. Then you'll check up on it and then you'll be like, wait a minute, what happened here? This is not the path we're going, or something like that. Or it screws something up and it's been trying to waste time fixing it when, if it was using version control software, for example, we could easily roll back to prior states of your program when it makes a major mistake. Then you could just do that instead of trying to spend 15 minutes getting something to work again. So if you're doing proper version control software practices, then yeah, you could easily go back as needed and not waste time trying to redo something that was previously working but now isn't. And so you got like programmer's intuition when you monitor it, and also the user experience intuition. Because if you're trying to design a product, you kind of know what it should look like, and if you supervise it closely, you can make sure it's always going on the right path. So there are some caveats to just letting it run by itself. Some things are very straightforward where it's probably not going to be a problem, but not everything, unfortunately. So, well, whether it's unfortunate is kind of hard to say, but especially with how advanced this AI is getting. But who knows? Anyway, so we're going to try to build a program today using that concept. And I am going to be pretty closely supervising it to make sure it's on the right path, because I want to see if I can get this program in an hour or less. And I'm going to need to do close supervising to minimize wasted time. If you're able to get it to do it all by itself, you think that you're saving time, but if it is making mistakes, then close supervision is actually going to end up wasting the least amount of time in that situation. I don't want to go over all the nuances of vibe coding because there's probably plenty of resources on that already. And I think we should focus on the nuances involved with this specific project, because there's going to be stuff that I'll forget, and I think the most relevant stuff is what's involved with this project. So if there's any issues that we run into, you'll see that throughout this project, and that's what our primary focus will be. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the project we're going to try building. This is something that would normally take me several hours, most likely, but I'm hoping that with vibe coding and maybe some supervision where I do certain parts of the code depending on how it goes, we'll see what it can come up with in an hour or less. So this, without AI, I'm sure it would take much longer to do this. Anyway, so let's go over the project real quick. So I know my webcam overlay is in kind of a weird place, but I don't want it to be in the way of this, nor stuff down here or over here potentially. So I just want to make sure I'm not in the way of anything. That seems like the best spot for my trial and error. Anyway, what is our project? Well, so oftentimes I have a Plex library from DVDs that I've ripped from my DVD collection, basically digitize them. Well, I'm often trying to find specific moments from some of my favorite shows. This is just a couple of them right here that we could use to build this project, but I have a recent strategy that I've developed to help me find specific moments very quickly. You probably ran into the struggle where you're trying to find specific moments from shows and you look it up online and it's pretty hit and miss whether you'll find it on YouTube or something like that. Or maybe you'll search a specific quote and you might be lucky enough to have it tell you what episode it's from, and then you can find it pretty quickly from there. But I've done something a little bit different recently, and I'm going to develop my application to make that even better yet. Like, this is an upgrade from what I've been doing for a long time, but the program I'm hoping to vibe code will make it even better yet. So what is it? Well, it has to do with finding specific moments in shows. So I got Silicon Valley, Mr. Robot, The Big Bang Theory as sample shows. There's a lot of other ones too, but this is a nice sample, I think, for testing our product. Anyway, so let's try to find... I'm going to go through my original process of finding a specific moment from a show you what that looks like. Then I'm going to show you my refined process, and then I'll explain what program I want to build to basically 10x that, make it even better yet. So it's kind of hard to think of what moment I want to look for as an example. How about on Silicon Valley? Let me try to find the moment where Gavin Belson's giving a lecture on where he basically brings a possum in the room, which is so ridiculous. So let me find that one. So what I might do is look up Gavin Belson possum, figure out where that is so I can watch the entire scene. Okay, so right here we have a consider the possum video, but I want to watch the whole scene, not just that part. So where can I find it on my actual DVD, for example? Well, I might get lucky enough to be able to go here. And I should probably tune into my computer so I can hear the shows. Looks like I've seen that one before, but it doesn't tell me what episode it is, which is useless. So how about... So this one's a compilation of basically all the presentations. But it doesn't tell you what episode it is there either, so... here we go. So right here is a bunch of Gavin Belson quotes. The one with possum in it. Consider the possum. Okay. Look at this. Season 3, episode 9. That's the episode that it's on. Okay. Now that I know that, I might open that folder on my system. Season 3, episode 9, daily active users. Okay. And just so you know, for all my DVDs, I have subtitles burnt into the videos. So that's pretty helpful for me. But I can't search through them because it's burnt into the video. I'd have to do some optical character recognition if I wanted to be able to search through subtitles. So that's not really an option for me right here using this method. But here I can basically seek around and try to find that awesome moment. Where is it? Here we go. This must be it. Here. Is this it?
Consider the possum. Nature's...
Gavin, if you're bringing another animal into this boardroom, this meeting is over.
Of course
this is pretty funny.
Don't insult me. Gentlemen and lady of the Hooli board.
Nice. Plain dead, just like a possum. Nice. Anyway, so you saw the process that I used to find that moment, right? I got lucky enough to find the quote on this website. Sometimes videos in the description will tell you which episode a given thing is from. Sometimes it won't. It's very hit and miss, which is a bit frustrating. So recently I've been doing a better method. So with DaVinci Resolve, you now have the ability to, with the paid version, you can generate captions completely offline, which is awesome because what I used to do is upload videos to YouTube. I don't really want to do that with TV shows for copyright reasons, but then you can generate captions and download the subtitle file. I don't really like doing that either because I'm uploading an entire video just to generate subtitles. I might even strip out all the video and just do audio to generate subtitles so I can search through them. But even that's not ideal because I'm deleting the video once I've transcribed it. Then I wanted to write a Python program that could transcribe audio too, but recently DaVinci Resolve has subtitle capabilities that totally do what I need. So let me show you that real quick. So on DaVinci Resolve, I could just bring my digitized DVD right into here, and then obviously I can watch it. But if I wanted to search through the video, I could also generate subtitles. Like, even though I already have burnt in subtitles, I could do it just for the purpose of bringing it in and searching through it. Because DaVinci Resolve's ability to generate subtitles are pretty good. Let me pick a short moment just so it doesn't take too long. So let's say I wanted to generate subtitles of this. Normally I do the whole episode, but just so I could do it quickly, I could go to create subtitles from audio. I usually do double, and then I just say English just so it knows for sure. Usually it auto detects it just fine, but I could see where it might not. So I just do that. And I like this because it uses local CPU processing power instead of also having to rely on a third party just for whatever. So it's kind of nice. So here.
A meal, tell stories. Tables are for people to be.
So there's the subtitles. That's kind of hard to see, but that's okay because if I want to just be able to search through it, I can export it. And let me export Silicon Valley subtitles or something like that. Then I can open it right up in my editor. And there we go. I have my subtitle file. And it does pretty good with how accurate it is. So then I can just be like, search something like Pied Piper, for example. It's at the 5-second mark. Okay, but in a long video, it'll be somewhere else. And then I can find it pretty quickly. So that's also handy. So what I've been doing recently is generating subtitles for all the shows that I want to be able to search moments in. Even if I already have subtitles, this is just for the purpose of searching. So my server that you might know that I have is currently generating subtitles right now as we speak for my other shows. So that'll be real handy. I've already got the ones for these shows. But anyway, let's try that method now. Let me show you how much more efficient it is. So what I've done here is I have a folder for those generated subtitles by DaVinci Resolve, and I can just do all that. And yeah, it takes a long time to do each individual file. I've recently written a script so that I could sort of automate the process of generating subtitles, and at least automate the doing each individual file, because what I often used to do is I put 4 or 5 videos on a single timeline and then export one file at a time. I'd basically delete 4 of them, export that one, undo the deletion, then I delete the one I just did so that I'm now doing the second one I generated in that timeline, deleting everything else, export that second one so it has proper timing. That is a pain to do. So what I've recently done is I have a project on my GitHub, which I'll put in the description, basically called Resolve Subtitle Generator. It uses DaVinci Resolve to generate subtitles, but it automates the process of importing the media, generating the subtitles, and exporting it in the same directory as the original video. So this is really handy. And what I've actually done with this script is I created an alias on my system so I could just run a command in the terminal, and it looks like an official built-in command, but it really generates subtitles. So let me see if I can find a good example here. Let's say I wanted to do those WAV files that start with 416. Well, what I could do is navigate to that directory. Okay, then I think I have an alias. I don't yet. Thought I did. This is an alias for Resolve subtitle. That script that's on GitHub right here, which you can use if you want. And I was struggling to get it working on Mac, so this is actually vibe coded, by the way. I gave it directions to the DaVinci Resolve API and then supervised the creation of it, and it works. It's awesome. Once you get it working, that is. I thought I had an alias for the file. I have it set up on my server, but I'm generating stuff right now and I don't want to stop that process, but I don't even have it working here. I guess I could just vibe code the alias and tell it what it needs to do. I kind of want to try to get the alias working right now, so I'm going to create it, and I really should use AI to help me with this. Python, to my documents, GitHub, Resolve subtitle generator. I just cloned it on this device. Generate srt.py. I think that's all I would need to do. But there might be a specific nuance where I have to get something working in the script itself so that it picks up the relative path. I remember struggling with that on Windows. I think I have some documentation on how to get that working if I'm not mistaken. Alias. I might have to update this README for that. But why don't we see if it works at least? Let's see if it works now. No such file or directory. I don't even have the latest version of the project on my system right now. So if that's the case, then I'll just go to that directory and do a git pull. Nope, I've updated it already. And that's just have the main branch. And it could just be glitching out because I haven't gave it any arguments too. I don't want to get caught up on this. I might just need to give it arguments. So I'll try it once with the Resolve sub. The name starts with 4-16. I'm gonna do that star.wave. So all wave files, let's say I want to do, and then what that does is it'll import those files into Resolve in theory. Why does it think it's doing samples? I might be having an alias issue, so if that's the case, I'll just copy the file. I'll figure out the alias later on. Probably not worth getting hung up on right now. But generate srt.py, just copy it to there. And then if I do Python generate srt 4-16, all the wave files for that. Yeah, there. It automatically imported it in Resolve. And now as you can see, it's generating the subtitle, which is great. It'll do everything that matches that wildcard. And I can give it multiple arguments of files. It's awesome. Because once it's done generating, it'll export in that same directory as the original file is in. Which is what I'm doing with the video generation. I did not manually do these files. I used this awesome script right here to make that work. And honestly, I was vibe coding it. And I was actually trying to get some work done while doing that vibe coding. Like basically I get it going and then I do working from home while I'm doing that vibe coding. I don't recommend that. I mean, for things that it is able to do by itself, you could start out trying to do that, but if it starts to struggle like more than a couple times, then assume that you're going to be supervising it the whole time. Because on top of having program output that the vibe code could observe automatically and figure out its own issues, the issue with that is with an API like this I'm doing right here, it can't monitor what's going on inside of Resolve itself. I have to be the one to basically tell it what it's doing, and if I can see something wrong, I just stop the execution and tell it what's going on instead of wasting time. So, yeah, for some things you could have it work all by itself, but I would say if it struggles more than a couple times, just start supervising it, and then as soon as it's clearly going on the wrong path, just stop it and tell it what's going on right away. Don't waste time around that. So that's kind of what I've been doing. By the way, if you see this empty waveform, it's silent moments, and there are moments of talking, so don't worry. Anyway, so I guess I'm gonna let this happen. So yeah, for every argument that's provided, it'll do that. And I have an alias set up in Windows PowerShell, by the way. It does work. I just have to troubleshoot how to get it working in ZSH. I haven't done that yet. I imagine I'm going to update the README if I discover certain things that it needs to do for troubleshooting with that. So I got it working in general. Like, I was having port audio or PI audio issues. Here's some troubleshooting stuff based on what I had to do to get it working myself. So yeah, I generate all my subtitles with this awesome script now. Maybe you should check it out if you want to do something similar. Hopefully it'll work for pretty much whatever version you're using. You do need Resolve Studio for this to work, and you're still using the Resolve interface. It's just automating the importing, generation, and exporting at the very least. That's why I have my server running this simultaneously on my other studio license. It's running other stuff, and it's been running for like 3 or 4 days in a row, by the way. I haven't had to stop it or any of that. It's awesome because it's generating, the files are about 4 or 5 hours on average, and it's doing about 30 of them maybe. So it's been running for 3 or 4 days and exporting files in the corresponding folders. It's pretty awesome. I was about ready to give up when I was running into issues, but then I did some strict supervision, and anytime I did anything wrong, I'm like, stop. This is what you need to do. This is what's happening. Because I can't perceive what's happening on the Resolve interface. But yeah, I gave it Resolve API documentation, told it what I needed to do, then it worked. I will mention that some of the issues I ran into are, it would get some function working, and then when it worked on the next thing, then the previous thing that it got working successfully broke, and suddenly that was no longer working. So then it spends like 10 or 15 minutes getting that working again. Then it tries to do the next feature, breaks the first thing again. It's an infinite loop of that pretty much when I'm not constantly supervising it. And that's where using Git version control practices are pretty much a must. So yeah, what I didn't do until the end is Git. Once I started using that, then I could be like, okay, this functionality works, this is a commit, then this functionality works in this commit, but these two don't work together in tandem. So then I have it analyze the commits and basically combine them so both things work. And it didn't work right away, but eventually it was able to figure out how to combine them together, looking at multiple commits. So that was pretty handy. And there's like 4 or 5 different features we got going on here. Importing the media, adding it to the timeline. The subtitle track does not need to get created ahead of time, because if you use that feature, it will generate the subtitle track if it doesn't exist. The program does generate the subtitle track first, which is unnecessary, but if it works, I'm not gonna fight with that. Then it does do this. It properly detects when the generation is finished, which it struggled with massively, but it was trying to figure out how to properly detect how to finish it, and it was actually starting to do like 30 seconds, and it was doing arbitrary checking, and the detection mechanism wasn't even working right. even with the arbitrary check every 30 seconds kind of thing, because it could take hours to generate sometimes. So eventually it accidentally, well, it didn't really stumble into anything. I happened to notice some output appearing when it finished, and I'm like, hey, when this output appears, even though it says it failed something, it actually did succeed right there. And then it's like, oh, okay. Then it's like, it uses that as a detection mechanism to know when the subtitle generation is finished. So, yeah, that's, I don't really do that code temperature. Yeah, so that's what I do. I was able to get it working because of something I noticed with programmer intuition. Okay, now it's just imported the next file, and now it's generating subtitles for that. It exported the first thing that it generated. It didn't say so, but it did. It more than likely, yep. It gave output saying where it's going to get saved to, and then it almost certainly did that. And if it failed, it's because the file already existed before. When I did this as a sample, I already did it. I didn't need to do that just now. But yeah, so that's pretty handy. And yeah, this is not about this project, but I just wanted to kind of show that you can run that yourself right here and set up the aliases. I'll probably add some instructions. There'll be a commit relatively soon, I'm sure, showing how to get the alias set up in both Windows and Mac. And then Linux, I'm sure it can be extrapolated, even though I'm not going to test it there. But yeah, that's still very handy. Since I have 2 studio licenses, I often use my server specifically for lots of concurrent generation. Well, not really concurrent, but if I'm generating a lot of files, that's what I'll do. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to go on that ramble. What am I doing here? So if I want to find that possible moment this way instead, what I do is I use Notepad++. You could use like Visual Studio or Cursor, whatever, which is based on Visual Studio. Or VS Code, I should say. So what I do is I create another Notepad++ window, which for some reason is not showing up right now. Weird. Usually it works. That is weird. I've never ran into that issue before. Let's open that up again. There we go. So I'm doing a separate window so I can open up all these files at once by dragging them in. And then I probably close out that first file or drag it back into the other window. That way, because I have so many windows open, I can just close it by clicking this X up here. So let's say I want to find that possum moment. Well, I can do a Control F and say like possum, find all and open documents. Consider the possum, yep. 309, daily active users, and it's at the 16-minute and 35-second mark, which, yep, that's basically what I have open here. So yeah, if I want to find a specific moment, then I can do it very quickly. Let's say I wanted to find that moment where Gavin Belson's yelling to cut the power to the building. Well, I remember him saying cut the power something or other. Yep, here we go. That's at just a couple episodes before at 1842. So that's at 307. 18, I'll do a few seconds before, 1835.
Beta on your personal computer?
Yes, I installed it on my phone. Shit. It could fry the entire system. Cut the power to the building!
No, Gavin, it's isolated to your user account, so it's just your...
But yeah, did you see how quickly I got to that moment? Now that I'm doing these subtitle files, it's totally worth generating all those files because then I can find quick moments. Or what if I wanted to quickly find that moment on Mr. Robot where he talks about lucid dreaming? Well, all I really have to do at that point is I'll close this out, put this into a new window, Let's find Mr. Robot. Subtitles for that are all there. And by the way, if I had them in each individual folder, I then go to this search bar here and type in star.srt. I don't know, just SRT because wildcard isn't working right here. What? Why is it not finding that? These are actually symlinked files because I don't have these files actually located here. It's on a different path in my system, so search is probably not working as a result. But normally I could do .srt and all the SRT files will come up if it's not symlinked using link shell extension. Because yeah, if I go to here, well, the folder's not symlinked itself, but if I go to one of the files, link properties, it is symlinked. But I usually put them all in here if I'm not actually using the subtitles. Some shows don't actually have subtitles, so I generated these subtitles and put the SRTs with the same name in the respective folders. And then the media player can detect it, and Plex can also detect it too. And I can select the subtitles there if I want, if it's not burnt in. If it is burnt in, I just have it all in this folder. And I think what I'll do, I have those text files, so I could use it with Notebook LM. And if I want to find a moment with an AI model, I just use Notebook LM with these transcripts, and then I can figure out where things are based on English queries. Anyway, so let's drag that in there. And then do the rest of the SRTs. That's why I have TXT files, because Notebook LM doesn't support SRTs, or yeah, it doesn't. So yeah, I got all these transcripts open, so I can search in all of them now. So lucid dreaming, where did he do that? No results. Interesting. That's probably because it's on lucid here, dreaming's on the next line, so therefore the search result won't come up. So let's just search lucid once. Ah, there we go. And it's dreams, not dreaming. Anyway, so that's at season 2, episode 11 at the 2-minute mark. So you can imagine I could just go there, season 2, if my mechanical hard drive won't be too slow. 2 minutes. 02. Yeah. Come on. 02. Right there.
About a technique he used to induce lucid dreams so he could study in his sleep. You lie in bed and repeat this mantra in your head. Mind awake, body asleep.
Anyway, so yeah. So this is a really handy system, but you saw some inefficiencies in that process I just did just now to find that. For example, dragging all the files into Notepad++, I could do better than that. And also having to manually go to the folder and do that. What if I had a graphical application that could do this same sort of find all, except I can click on the results and then it automatically opens up the media player right at that moment. That's what we're going to vibe code. We're going to see if we can do a graphical application like that. And we're going to try to also do it in less than an hour too. If I actually did this, it would take many hours, so I wouldn't even consider it worth the time. But maybe with vibe coding, I could do it. I think the concepts would be relatively straightforward to do it with vibe coding. Some things would not work very well with vibe coding due to the complexity, but keep in mind you can also use this AI sort of like a coding partner. And then you can both you and the coding partner, the AI, can program very efficiently. So sometimes that'll end up being the best strategy. Anyway, so now you should hopefully have an idea of what we're making. So why don't I real quickly illustrate what I think I'd like. So look, we have our window right here. I apologize for the crude drawing because I'm drawing using my thumb on this trackball. Anyway, so what I think I'll do is I'll have a search bar right there. And honestly, I can draw shapes, so why don't I just do that? So this will be a find search bar. And then I think I'll have a drop down right here so I can select which show I want to search. And I think the way I'll do it is the folder that I'm running the script in will be sort of like the root folder with all the shows in it. So like this one right here, like this folder has 3 shows in it, right? So I think I'd have the script right in this folder here. And basically it would grab all the folder names. I think those will be drop down items on here. I can't really do a drop down drawing because I don't even know how to draw that. Probably do like a down arrow. This should technically go here. Sorry for the crude arrows. So I select the show. I'm drawing that with my thumb, so I apologize. And then this would be search. I should have used the word find because it's 2 less letters. So that's a search bar. And then I think what I'll have is the rest of this will simply show the results, and then I'll have a scroll bar. Kind of like how I have a scroll bar on here. And I think I'll just have it show the beginning time code right there. And then show that. Maybe I could make it so that there's more text, but I think that'll be a refinement that I make to it. If it just shows this much text, I think that'll be enough to know where things are. But I could increase the text region if I wanted. But yeah, I would like it so that it hyperlinks what the show is, so I can easily go to that moment, because what I believe I could do is Media Player Classic has a command line utility. I believe there is some command line functionality, and I've shown it in other videos too, like my video where I call myself on Zoom. I do mention it on that video too. So let me open up command prompts if I can spell it right. So if I do like the Media Player Classic executable, that just opens it up. But if I do like a question mark, these are all the different commands you can do on it. And I think there's some sort of time parameter where you can, oh yeah, start playing at whatever hour, minutes. Oh, so start, pause, hour, minute, second. This could be irrelevant. No, I'll keep that open for now, but then that way when I click on the link, I could just have it open that file at the specific position. So I think that's what it'll do behind the scenes. So now, even though I'm vibe coding, I'm still kind of going over how it's probably going to work, because I just know with programmer instinct what's likely to work and what isn't. So I'm going to give it instructions accordingly. If I don't, it's probably not going to work, and with my hour limitation, I'm probably not going to make it. So I want to make everything clear so that it doesn't make mistakes regarding that. But yeah, I think if I do a start and then do the hour, minute, second, then I can have it go right to that moment. So yeah, I think that would be a pretty cool application, because I'm often doing this. I'm doing this often enough that I can see myself using this very regularly. And I'd like to have a keyboard shortcut to actually bring this up too. Like, that's how often I use it. So I think that's what I'll do. So yeah, the drop down for the show to do will be based on what's in that directory. I'm going to structure it that way on purpose. And then as far as each show goes, since the SRT could be either right here or inside one of the folders like this one, since the name is going to match regardless of where it's located, I think I'll just do a file search where it pairs a file with the SRT, even if it's in different directories, but it's still going to be within the corresponding show. So I think that's how I'm going to treat that. It'll do a corresponding SRT that exists in one of the subdirectories. So that's how I'm going to structure it. So let's see if we can vibe code this now, shall we? I think I will use Git, and then I might put it on GitHub if it ends up working out. Then you guys can use what I vibe coded, or you can just vibe code it yourself, whatever. So I want this to be a Git repository, so I'll just do a git init. And then I don't want that in there, so I'll do a git ignore. And I want that outside of that folder. Yep. Then I'll do the Mr. Can it do spaces like that? Silicon Valley. A Big Bang Theory. Can I... Is this the right syntax? Git ignore. Spaces are right and dots and everything. So I'm just asking the AI whether I did that all correctly just now. Cool. Okay. Nice. So I'll commit that. So I'm just committing the git ignore, properly pick that up, git structure, something like that. So now I've created the commit for that. And those are aliases for git, by the way, so that I'm just doing like git add dot and then git status. That's what this does. And then of course GNT is git init, and then GIM is git commit -m. Then I can just specify my message. And then GPU is git push. And if I have to specify the upstream origin, then I do a -u in PowerShell. Then that's how that works. And then if I need to link a GitHub repository with my local repository, then I do grma for git remote add origin. So I have some aliases to make Git real efficient in this environment. So yeah, I think we're set up now. I might tell it to create commits for each thing that it's doing. So now I have to describe to it what I'm wanting to do. I don't want that git ignore as part of the context, so I just close that out. And I think I do want the thinking part of the model. Then that way it does give things some thought, and I'm sure it's less likely to make mistakes. Okay, so let's see if we can do this in an hour now. So I'm going to start a timer. Ready? Here we go. Let's try to get it done. So there's the timer up in the corner. Okay, what am I building? I don't know if I want to do this in Python or AutoHotkey yet. I'll maybe let it decide. I want to build an application. I'll just kind of type it out and then show you the message if you want to read it. Well, could I do voice typing? I'm wasting time. So that's not smart. Where would I even do voice dictation anyway? Do I do it in Google Docs or what? What I like about doing the voice dictation is you can hear me say it as I'm typing it pretty much. And how it goes is how it goes. It might save time if it works well. Testing, can you hear me? Cool. Okay, nice. I want to build an application that can help me navigate my DVD ripped shows because I have subtitle transcripts. And right now I currently use Notepad++ to find all instances of a keyword using find all, period. It's nice because if I have the right keyword, I can use the transcript to then figure out where it is, because I have SRT files for each episode or show that I'm doing. Can you create an application that allows me to do find all on those transcripts like I do in Notepad++? I'm not sure if I want it to be AutoHotkey or Python, because I do see myself using an AutoHotkey shortcut to run this. You know, this is so challenging because now I'm having to tell it all the requirements, which is pretty challenging because if it's not clear, you're not going to get good results. I suppose it depends on what's easier from a GUI design perspective. I want a search bar with a find all button, period. I also want to be able to hit enter while that search bar is selected to do the search results too, period. And then I want to drop down to select which show I'm using, period. Each show is in a folder with the directory of the script, comma, so I'd have the drop down items be named based on the folder in that directory of the script. Voice recognition is not 100% perfect, which is a little bit annoying. When the item is selected in the drop down, do that corresponding folder for the searches, period. And then most of the application window would show the find all results. And maybe I would want to be able to scroll the results, period. And then maybe I'll show a screenshot of how I do it right here. Try to find a result. Wrong show. What is a Mr. Robot result that'll come up a lot? Mr. Robot itself. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to take a screenshot using my screenshot utility, which you probably can't see right now. Maybe you can, I'm not sure. But I'm going to copy that to the clipboard and then paste it there so that it has that image for reference. Is there another one I want? Maybe the transcript of timecodes. Then I'll probably indicate through here that the start time is what I want. Do start time in results. I think this kind of mock-up will be helpful for it to know what it's happening. And then I think I'll just have it show that text region. Oh, come on. Show text region by time. Just let me type, okay? Okay. By the time. And then I'll just get a little caught up in how I'm doing the mock-up thing. No reason to get caught up in that, but whatever. And then I guess maybe I'll add like allow adjustments for how much surrounding text shows up per result and time code, something like that. So that'll be a mock-up image that I'll give it as well. Okay, so now I can refer to those images. Boy, 10 minutes to define requirements, but that is a huge step regardless. Okay, so attached images you see are showing what my find all results look like, and then what the transcript looks like when I click on the results, period. See notes on screenshots, period. So on the segment of the program displaying the results, I wanted to show just the start time code from that transcript, and then probably the text underneath it, same as what the transcript shows, period. So how much further do I want to get with the description? Do I want to just see how well it does here? Do I want to address more important nuances? Let me think. So yeah, the drop down, the search bar, media player classic, we do need to address that too. I would like it so that when I click on the results in the GUI, it is able to open media player classic with that specific file of where the result is. The video and subtitle transcript names are the same. They might be in different directories, but pair the names together of MP4 and SRT, period. Open the MP4 when the result is clicked in Media Player Classic, period. How long do I need the transcript to be done? Maybe like that, or the parentheses. Use the /start pause I want to write it down manually. Start pause format to get Media Player Classic to jump right to that specific moment that I clicked on based on the start time. I don't think it's going to be able to do that all by itself. I could see how a non-programmer would either leave that detail out or not give enough detail to be able to do it correctly. But let's try this once and see what issues we run into. Before you start, do you think it makes more sense to do this in AutoHotkey or Python based on what's easier for displaying the search find all results? Question mark. And then I'm probably gonna have to answer before it actually starts building, which is fine. I'm totally fine with that. I'd rather be careful in that regard. So yeah, I'm gonna tell it to do this. Oh, and I might want to tell it, you can see 3 sample shows in this directory. Feel free to see how there is a subtitles directory and MP4 files in corresponding folders. The SRT and MP4 should get matched up behind the scene for when the timecode hyperlink is clicked on in the GUI. Sometimes they will be in the same directory and sometimes not. So I would store a data structure with searching all SRTs and pairing it with the corresponding video so it knows. See, getting those details down will help it be successful with the build, I think. And I can see how non-programmers would use this and not get specific like that. Then they run into problems and yeah. But thoughts on Python versus AutoHotkey? I did have a text expansion there. So those are the requirements that I'm telling it. Let's see how it does. And I'm sure there's better ways to do requirements with AI prompt, but this is what I'm focusing on for now. I apologize if there's any typos. I think it's still pretty good overall. Let's see what it takes here. Yeah, see if I had my webcam down on the bottom, that would get in the way. Okay, so it's analyzing the project structure, which is crucial for the project design. Python, I thought Python would be a better choice too. So now it's nice. It picked up the project name. Cool. And I also want to tell it to do version control stuff. So I'm probably gonna stop it once it's done this. So it's writing the file right now, which seems slow for us right now waiting for this, but it's actually still doing it much faster than a human could do it most likely. I'm sure we're gonna have to do a lot of testing and trial and error. So now I'm just creating a new file. And then I'm gonna stop it to tell it to do version control. Ooh. It's creating a readme. I might start writing my message. Nah. That's cool with the AutoHotkey script. Please continue. But also create git commits for each major change. Okay, I think that'll be really helpful. So now it's doing AutoHotkey, and then it'll probably create git commits. I'm probably not going to use this AutoHotkey, but I'll adapt it to my master script, which has thousands of lines. And it has a git ignore. It's probably going to fail, but yeah, we'll see how it does. I'll accept it because I'm sure it'll do just fine. Nice. Probably made it more thorough. Cool. And it left alone this. And by the way, when you don't accept changes, it's still good. Oh, I didn't want it to do that because I already did it. Oh well. See how it just runs the commands without me doing it? Isn't that awesome? And it's creating commits one at a time. That is cool. I've given it permission to do basic commands within this environment, so it's likely not going to do it outside that directory. Okay, I'll accept that for now since I'm just gonna blindly accept everything since I'm vibe coding. Okay. And it created a readme, which is cool. Let's see what it looks like just real quick. Nice. That is pretty cool. So at this point, it's created it, but I'm sure there's a lot of glitches that'll occur more than likely. So I'm guessing that running the Python script would pull up the application. Wow. That is impressive how quickly it did that. I mean, you see what's going on here? Just how quickly it designed that basic mockup. That is pretty much what I did. It's in a different order, but I don't care. That's awesome. Okay. So cool. Okay. Ooh. Let's see if I can change it and then find like a Silicon Valley moment. How about the Rust Fest? I'll see if I can find a Rust Fest moment. Look at that. It knew which file, so it did do the correct thing. And it did a status down here. That is insane. Do you realize how long this would normally take if you did this all manually? Probably several hours, I'm sure. If you did it with AI as a pair programmer, you could probably still do it pretty decent. Because every once in a while, if you wanted to, you could do this to generate some code right here. Otherwise, you could use this too for specific fragments. That is awesome. That did not take long at all. I had a feeling this is a pretty straightforward application, but yeah, the links cannot be clicked on yet, which is understandable. I'll be like, nice. The GUI looks pretty good out of the box. I can't click on the timecode yet. Can we work on that next? Opening MPC. And of course, that's a text expansion shortcut to actually open it up. I should honestly disable that because, see, okay, I should definitely disable that. I just answered why. I just went like this to prevent it from doing it now. Opening MPC with start cost and then HHMMSS format with that argument. Once a specific time code is clicked. And then out of curiosity, it really does let you scroll, right? If I do like Piper, there's going to be plenty of them. Nice. That's a pretty fast search as well. Absolutely. And it's nice how it tells you what file it's in. And this is a lot of results to sift through, but if I have good search terms, I'm sure it'll be a lot more straightforward. If I want the Lucid Dreaming one from this, I'll just search Lucid. And I was able to hit enter on that search bar too. Cool. So now I'm refining this. I think we might get this in under an hour after all. So Media Player Classic might not be in a conventional location. Oh, it is in C:, for me. Nice. Sometimes I might install it on the D drive instead or something, but cool. Okay. Event binding event to launch MPC. Yeah, that seems right. And of course, this is specific to Media Player Classic. You might want to use VLC, or on Linux, you might want to use Celluloid with MPV instead. I'm going to mostly focus on MPC. Then if you guys want to do other things, you could vibe code a fork of this project if you want. And then we could figure out a way to add it and make it work for everybody. If we can get that working, then cool. See now, button. Oh, must tag text. That must be how it works. It probably tags the text. Safety enhancements. Nice. That's pretty cool how it says what it does too. But yeah, you saw how it ran commands and it can perceive the output all by itself. So if you develop an application that involves the terminal, or at least debug output, it can directly perceive that, and then it can work for hours at a time potentially, which is pretty cool. It does 25 call stacks, and then you have to manually resume it if basically so it doesn't go too far without your supervision, which you want. You gotta make sure it's on the right track and all that stuff. So the changes have been applied, but this reject is to go back. Except in the file, doesn't really change anything because the changes have already been applied. And that works nice because then it can do that all by itself. Okay, let's see how it works now. Okay, so for Silicon Valley, what's another moment we could do? I was just thinking about, like right now, Elon Musk is the richest, I believe, from what I hear. But wasn't Jeff Bezos up there before too? There was a scene where Gavin was like, I'll host the effing brunches or whatever. I want to find that moment. So brunch would be a single keyword. Ooh. Could not determine which result was clicked. Okay. I could just tell it that's the error now. I clicked a time code and it says could not determine which result was clicked. See, now I have no idea what's going on with the underlying code, and that's kind of a scary feeling, but I think it's still okay to vibe code an application like this. And I should be able to go through a whole list of results and it brings me to the right thing. Okay, so let's see what it's doing. Just thinking, you know how you work on a project, you think it's going to take some time, and then it ends up being like double your estimated time. If I get this done within the next 2 minutes here, could AI be something that gets it done in half the time it thinks it will? I'm sure there's a lot of exceptions to that rule, especially with more complex programs. I mean, half the battle is the soft skills and get the user requirements. So the changes did apply, even though I didn't say accept yet, by the way, which is why I'm leaving it for now. But if I am doing one thing at a time, I will accept the changes immediately. Okay. Hopefully, yeah, each time code gets a unique ID. Interesting how it didn't do that from the start. But whatever, let's try that again and see how it works. Brunch, let's go to that moment. Found 6 matches. Nothing happened when clicking. Can you add debug output and then run the command in this environment so you can see the debug output as I use the program? I clicked the time code, but nothing happened. And then we'll see what happens from there. I'm probably not using the best model because it seems like there's so much fluctuation with the accelerationism of AI that one day this will be good, another day this other model will be good. It fluctuates so much, it's kind of hard to keep up with it. And I think when you measure what's best, it depends on the use case and all that stuff too. So I'm probably not doing things the best way, I'm sure, but it's not always easy to know what is best because it literally keeps changing all the time. Like, people are doing the whole debate between cursor versus windsurf versus an extension where you do your own self-hosted AI models versus all these different things. But since they're using the same underlying model and there's constant changes and revisions going with each utility, I have a feeling they're going to end up being about the same in the end. Everybody's all hyped up about which one's the best. I'm not going to participate in that because I think it's a waste of time, and I'm focusing on what matters for me and all that. Okay, brunch. Okay, perfect. So I got the output. So how do I... If I hit cancel, I'm not sure if it'll still see the output, but what I'll do is I'll go like this and then it still exists. creating a tag, but it's not properly being assigned. See, it's probably able to tell that from the debugged output, which is pretty handy. And that's nice that it runs the program for me as well. But yeah, the output is literally right in that agent environment, which is pretty cool, huh? We still got plenty of time. We're just kind of doing some revisions. We're gonna get this all in time, hopefully. Okay, let's see how it goes. Looks like it redesigned the interface a little bit, but because of version control, we can easily roll back as needed. Brunch. Nice. I like how that looks a little better too. Okay, so then right here, instead of popping out the terminal, I'm gonna cancel it and tell it that it didn't find the file, because it might not know that from this output. Not sure if you can see the output that just happened, but MPC open. I have to disable that text expansion. MPC opened, but the file could not be found, probably because of paths referenced, absolute versus relative, etc. But I wanted to be able to interject what I noticed because it might not have noticed. Absolute paths? No, 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 no. Is there a way you can do relative paths? I want it based on the files in the directory of the script itself for ease of use. Perhaps if anything, media player classic worked, so that can be absolute if it needs to, I'm sure. Please do relative and not absolute paths if possible, at least based on the directory of the script itself. Just want to make sure that's clear, because it kind of looked like it was still doing absolute paths, which I don't want. But it is handy that it's been doing the git commits. Let's see if I can do... Nice. So it has been doing all these different commits right here. And by the way, that's git log with the one line flag, in case you're wondering. And I think I also have the graph feature with glog as well. And of course I could do git ref log. I can't... Oh yeah, I do have a alias for that, looks like. But most of the time I find it useful to just do like GLO for git log one line. I usually find that suffices enough if I need to go back to a specific commit. And I'm talking about this while vibe coding. Isn't that ridiculous? Wait, what? It detected an error while it did all this? Interesting. So yeah, if I need to get all this done in an hour, I think what I want to do is focus on the main stuff, and then if there's extra time, I do revisions. And that's a general good practice, especially during those hour, 45-minute long interviews where you're doing some coding problem like this. Now I guess it's possible to do this complexity during an interview, isn't it? What problem is happening anyway? If it screws anything up, there are git commits, so that's good news. And I may as well go like this and accept each file for now. Alright. That is so cool that the program just comes up all by itself now. Perfect. So if I add more folders, I'll get more items there, right? Okay, so brunch. Yeah, let's try that moment. I want to see that. Okay, it opened up the right video. Okay, stop. It opened the right video, but I'm assuming the start pause argument didn't quite work right. And that's my programmer intuition saying that. And I'll delete this. Let's see if we can figure out what's going on here. And at this issue, or at this point, we're troubleshooting issues. But we mostly have the application as far as I'm concerned. So this extra time is to help fix those issues. Yeah, that's so cool that it can just run the git commit like that. Perfect. Nice. And then I can do something else, so that once this pops up, then I know it's ready for more testing. That's cool. So brunch. Okay. See, it probably doesn't know that this came up, so I'm gonna tell it that. I'll close this out. I'll just watch what it says, and if it opened up the CLI help now instead of the video. It did what the executable -- does in Windows. So it didn't quite work. So it might get caught up on this for a little while, so we have to be smart about how we help it based on what we're noticing, so that there's minimal time wasted, because we want to get this successfully working. It's committing the changes. The program should run by itself. Perfect. Branch. It opened the video, but it didn't jump to the moment. Okay, so I'm going to close the program and then tell it that. It opened the video like before, but the timecode jump still doesn't work. The argument, according to the documentation, is /start pos HHMMSS, by the way, because I have a feeling my programmer intuition's telling me it probably doesn't know that necessarily, because it kind of looked like it was doing something else before. Like, what was it? It was doing like a start pos kind of thing or something like that. I'm not sure. And it is start pos, right? Yes. So we'll just see what it does from there. Okay, Silicon Valley brunch.
This brunch is fuck him.
Nice. It worked. Okay. So then I'd probably end up going back a little bit.
The signature box.
Maybe I'll make it so there's like an offset. So here it is.
I get a complete do-over. Tim Cook keeps inviting me to his brunches. Fuck him. I'll host the fucking brunches. All because Mr. Hendricks here was kind enough to...
Okay, actually, I guess it was Tim Cook, not Jeff Bezos. See, I'm glad I used brunch as a keyword there instead of Bezos. That seems to work pretty well. Nice. So then what if I want to watch the moment where Colin throws that scooter in the garbage? I happen to remember a keyword there is... He said something like, "You were on point, man. Kinship." Yeah, there. That was a... There.
That kinship was on point, man. I fucking love cats. Oh. Yeah. So listen,
See, that was a pretty quick reference. And then one from the Big Bang Theory that I wanted to check was... There's a part where I swear he was talking about Back to the Future, where he's talking about a part 2, a part 3, and a part 1, which that sounds like Back to the Future to me. So let's... Yeah, I think this is the moment I was thinking of. So let's see if that works. No matching video title. Why not? Okay, what glitched out here now? So what file is it? Season 12, Disc 3. Oh, no, I have it. Season 12, Disc 3, Title 1. So that's what the SRT is called. So just to make sure that the names are compatible and whatnot, we got that one. And then I'll go to the actual... Is there any difference between that and the title? No, I don't think so. They look identical. So that shouldn't be glitching out. That's odd. What if I do it from the start? Will it then work? If I try to run it again? I'm just going to see what it says. I'm gonna run it myself real quick just to make sure. Part 2. Okay, that worked with my initial when I tried the Big Bang Theory part 2 search term, and then I'll add the relevant debug to the chat, which is so nice compared to using like ChatGPT online or something. So when I try the part 2 search term, it loads the results but can't find the file. I think the structure is the same as the Silicon Valley, but double check the structure and see why the file can't be found. And then if the model provider glitches out where it's unavailable momentarily, that's sure gonna ruin my trying to get it in an hour, isn't it? But we did pretty much get it and still have some time to spare, shockingly. That is impressive. So I'm having it check the directory structure. That's why it's nice to have it in this environment, and then it can assess what's happening, because it might notice a pattern for something. Oh, see, now the mechanism for searching was specific. It did specifically the way the files are named, but I might have slightly different naming conventions. So I think it should do all the subtitles and then just do like kind of a file search and then pair them together with an internal data structure, like a dictionary or something. I thought it did that, but because it didn't, it ran into the problem. I would have done it that way, and this issue wouldn't be happening if I did it that way. Also, I hate how it's being rather specific with the show, but that's okay. Part 2. Sure, it'll work now.
Saw part 1 in 3D, and the 2D part 2 is not the part 2 of the 3D part 1.
See, I was trying to figure out if I thought this might have been a Back to the Future reference.
The 2D at 9:30.
3D. If I'm gonna see Thor, I want.
But based on that, I'm assuming it's not Back to the Future if Thor's in it.
I feel like I could lick those abs.
Actually, 3D kind of makes me queasy.
No, but we have to see it in 3D. We saw part 1 in 3D, and the 2D part 2 is not the part 2 of the 3D part 1.
He's got you there, Leonard. Or he doesn't. I don't really care anymore.
Nice. Okay. But yeah, I think now it should not be specific anymore. Success. Cool. Guilfoyle would be like the fact that it adds human ticks to it. Actually, let's find that scene real quick with this scene finder. Human tick. What? Tick is a reference to something? Come on. Total image converter. Okay. Smart fridge. I think adding a more intelligent search in the future would be nice, because my search query is probably not going to be consecutive. What's the search term? Already perfect. Is there anything in Silicon Valley? Yeah. Human tick. No. Ooh, I can't do a control backspace to delete the whole word. That could be another revision. Yeah, there's a Silicon Valley scene where the fridge is talking and it's like, see, it's kind of hard to find moments like this when I don't have the search term. What is the term I'm looking for? I'm trying to think of some context in that scene. Human tick. Vocal tick. How about that? Really? I'm gonna have to disable some of my text expansion because it's annoying sometimes. Here we go. This is it.
Good talk. Got your phone. All it needs to do is keep my fucking beer cold.
You're running low on beer.
Fuck you.
Whoops, did you forget to scan that barcode?
Yes, I did. On purpose.
Ah, there we go.
It's bad
This is
enough it has to
ridiculous.
talk. Does it need fake vocal tics? Like,
Well, it just makes it sound more human.
humans are shit. This thing is addressing problems that don't exist. It's solutionism at its worst. We are dumbing down machines that are inherently superior.
Whatever, you give your server a human name, you named it Anton.
So yeah.
Yeah, but
So yeah, that was pretty cool. Like once I had the search term or terms, then I could find the moment I'm looking for. So now I guess, yeah, we know it works with Mr. Robot. There's some times when Leon mentioned Seinfeld, so what about those?
He just discovered Seinfeld.
Maybe I'm overthinking it though.
And talks way too much about it. It's really fucking with him.
What about the moment with George? I remember about George Seinfeld. See, the search could be a little bit more intelligent, I'm sure, where it finds one word here that another word. Actually, do I have it open still? Oh, yeah. So if I did like George Seinfeld here now. Nope. Hopefully it's just as smart as... So George... Classic George, yeah, here we go. That's a Seinfeld reference. Yep. Nice Adderall.
I can even handle talking to people.
Yo, bro, he was like...
Even Leon's stupid Seinfeld philosophy is starting to sound fascinating.
So he just ran out of the party, pushing old people aside? That's so funny. Was there even a fire? It's classic George, am I right?
I don't like this, bro.
He's excited about Seinfeld. So that is awesome. It literally is a rapid moment navigator. If I need to find a specific moment, boom, there we go. What about the bear is sticky with honey from Silicon Valley? Bear is sticky with honey, boom.
Oh, the bear is sticky with honey. See you soon.
Nice. What does that mean? But yeah. Or if I want to look at that Back to the Future cosplay that's on Mr. Robot, for example. There's quite a lot of Back to the Future references. Why are there some duplicates there? Oh, because of the .txt file. Ooh, that would be something to address
It's Back
too.
to the Future. Can we see the Martian instead?
Are you kidding?
This is my reaction too.
First of all, the Martian looks like shit. Second of all, you've never seen Back to the Future?
That's exactly my reaction.
Looks like an old movie.
You don't understand. Today is the day that Marty travels into the future. I've wanted to see
Let me guess. It's October 21st on here.
this movie on this day since I was your age.
I hear that's a reference to
What are you doing?
Whiplash.
You just ruined it.
I haven't actually seen Whiplash, but I'm pretty sure that's a reference to it.
It's the best way to eat popcorn. Trust me. Past.
Look at
and
some of
coming
those
back into an alternate
cosplays on
present
there.
day.
No, you can't go into the future to change the past. It's way heavier than that. He goes into the future to change the future. But that allows Biff to change the past, which changes the future again.
No, it's much simpler than that. It's about how one mistake can change the world.
That cosplay is pretty impressive if you ask
Are
me.
you sure we can't see the Martian?
Wow.
Come on, you're gonna look shitty.
Guys, Marty, I was afraid you wouldn't recognize me.
Do you mind holding my
I honestly thought that was the actual actor at first.
flux capacitor for a second? I gotta clean my glasses.
Change of blood. Added a good 30 to 40 years to my life.
Nice.
They also replaced my steaming colon.
That looks bonkersly close. I thought that was actually Doc Brown at first.
The future. Unbelievable.
See, I mean, look at that's the actual Doc
I
Brown.
gotta check this out.
Looks like he's watching
Hi,
himself.
Marty. We're on a tight schedule here.
That's crazy.
I know I make it big, but what do I become, like a rich rock star?
Anyway, so don't want to cause any copyright issues there, but yeah, that looks like our timer's running out too. Okay, we basically got it. We're just making refinements at this point. So, okay, let's do a stopwatch to see how long we go over time. Okay, so let's fix the pairing so that the directory structure doesn't have to be specifically that. Could you adjust it so the directory structure doesn't have to be a specific layout? For example, since there are SRT files, search specifically those, ignoring txt for now, etc. And then do some file search to store where the corresponding file is, so it doesn't matter the underlying directory structure. There will not be duplicate names, so just match names to SRTs even in different directories. Make it more generic so we don't have to do Big Bang Theory adjustment, since it could be literally any show. And I'm kind of giving it my thought process, which I feel will also help with things. Might be a little unnecessary, but then again, if it has my thought process, what it does is probably going to align with it more than what it was doing before. We did get this in under an hour as far as I'm concerned. We were just doing refinements. We also took some time to just try it out. What I was doing was trying it out right there. And I'm going to make sure it still works. What would be kind of nice is if Notebook LM had a proper official API, because we could probably create a tool that actually creates compilations for us based on Notebook LM queries. Because if it has all the transcripts, Notebook LM could then output the timecode ranges, import them into a DaVinci Resolve timeline using the Resolve API. When the timings won't be exact, but man, it'll make it very quick to do compilations if it accurately works well. Okay, so let's try something else from Silicon Valley. Trying to think of a good moment. It's gonna be embarrassing when you see how much time has elapsed with the timer. And I can't think of a good moment. There's a lot of them, but it's hard to think. What if I wanted to see that pipey clipboard guy?
Richard, I'm sorry.
Here's Pipey.
Follow me.
Dodge Challenger. Yeah, plus all
The fuck is that?
Well, his name is Pipey, the Pied Piper Piper. He's fun, and you know, the demo's interactive. Just
Looks like you want to compress a movie file. Can I help? You know, with Pied
This is so ridiculous.
neural network optimized sharded
This-
data distribution system, it's just 6 clicks away. Follow me.
I like it.
That's a fucking lie.
Yeah.
So, Richard, you want us to take the most sophisticated and technically complex compression.
It kind of reminds me of, what was that clipboard character called on old versions of Microsoft Windows? But yeah, no, this is pretty cool to be able to search moments like this right away. Let's try the Big Bang Theory and make sure that still works with a generic structure. I'm not going to test it right here, but when I try with my other shows in the future, I'll make sure it still works, and then I'll do any revisions if necessary. Okay, the Big Bang Theory. I like that 3D glasses scene where they're dodging 3D glasses. I think it's so ridiculous. So I'm trying to think. There's a flaming arrow in that scene. This might be the nice. Yep.
Right through your skull. That will be another
This
congratulatory
is
call
funny
from
right
me.
here.
Mute, please. Well, hang on. Flaming arrow.
Hello?
I love how ridiculous that is.
Chancellor Morton, how are you, sir? Yes, I was expecting your call 3 years ago.
Cool. So it still works with that. Let's make sure it still works with Mr. Robot. This is so awesome, just how quickly I can search through shows now, and how quickly I can pull up the moments. This is why I did this application. This seemed like a good vibe coding project, if you know what I mean. Plus, then I can kind of show where it works well and where I have to help it and all that stuff. Trying to think of another good moment to see if the search terms work well. I don't want to spoil too much either, obviously, because Mr. Robot is a lot more sequential. And it's a bigger deal. Trying to think through a good moment. Is there a scene where he writes a program from scratch? How about a brute force? What's a good brute force moment? This is an example, I guess.
That's a look I was looking for.
I think it recognized it as brute force by mistake, so let's try this one.
With those details plus a dictionary brute force attack, it'll take my program maybe 2 minutes to crack his password.
We see it, him writing the program.
Yankees. I don't remember this being a security
And lastly,
question.
your pet's name.
Flipper. Who am I speaking to? Can I get your name and number?
With those details plus a dictionary brute force attack, it'll take my program maybe 2 minutes to crack his password.
Actually, how about that moment where... Let's see if we can find that moment where they remotely stop the car driving. Like Irving stops the car from driving. Out of control. Is that a search term? No. Oh, yeah, then the Control A or Control Space deletion and the... Let's do that first, actually. Okay, commit those changes, yeah. Uh-oh. Didn't push up to GitHub, did it? Let's try... Okay. When I search in the search bar, Control backspace doesn't work like most text fields. Can you easily fix that? And then the next test I'll do will be based on this. I probably did something somewhat generic. I'm sure I would have run into this too myself. Probably had to manually add the functionality, it looks like. I'm probably going to look through how this is designed afterwards, so I can see kind of how it worked. So let's run that. What was I just about to search? Oh yeah, the Irving stop a car. See, now I just have to find the search term. Remote shutdown. How is that not even a thing? Wait a minute. Did I just see it? If I do Control A, oh, it does still work. Cool. Remote shutdown. Okay. The Control backspace only worked for one word and then just stopped working. So it is running into little glitches like that. It's probably getting better results using the advanced thinking versus just generating content with the large language model. So what's the search term? Still doesn't work. Still has the issue where it only works once. Whether I let go of control or not. I should be able to either hold it down and it does what Windows does when holding a key down for a while, or holding control down and pressing backspace multiple times. So I'm just kind of describing. I'm hoping the description helps it. Car shutdown. We'll have to see if that's a valid search term. See, now when it improves it further with another approach, it makes me wonder if it's gonna break something else. Because I've had it remove functions that were working before. That's scary. So it spends like a couple minutes getting a function working, it then accidentally removes it because it's language generation. Then it spends like an hour just putting it back because version control wasn't done. That should never be a problem, right? Erratically. There it is. This is a wild scene.
M7482.
About the mess.
Crazy way to diffuse the tone, huh? But yeah, that does seem to work. Alright. And it pretty much does what I want. So I think what I'll do now is can you clean up the debug output and update the readme as needed. And then that'll be the final one. And then I'll put it on GitHub for you guys. So GitHub is authenticated through an SSH key, just so you know. So that's how I authenticate to my account. So then what I can do is go to repositories, create a new repository, and then what's the project called? Rapid Moment Navigator. Uses SRT subtitles to search several transcripts to quickly find a moment in videos like shows ripped from DVDs. And I'll think about the license stuff later. So now the repository exists. Okay. I'll accept that. I'm sure that's all good. I'm sure it works. So the README, I'll just kind of double check how that's structured. It's all vibe coded, so everything is generic in the instructions, but shows the overall idea of having an SRT and video file, including MOV if that's used, and some subfolder. I just want to, because it'll know whether that's the case or not with its design. I didn't design this, so I can't answer the question off the top of my head. And then in the future revisions, probably to add support for other media players and possibly other operating systems. Okay, so it's making some last minute revisions. Kind of afraid to update the README just because it's probably about to do that. Yep, it is right now. They would have undone all my changes. So yeah, if there's multiple simultaneous formats, how will it know which one to do? I'm gonna make sure that never happens, so I honestly don't care. You guys can fork the project if there's issues and then create a pull request, and we can get it all worked out if necessary. So it's created the commits, so I think what I'll do is future improvements, verify support for players and formats in Windows, Mac, and Linux. That's all I can think of right now. So I'll just create a commit for that real quick. Updated README. Okay. That should be good enough for now. Okay, so many changes there. And then for auto hotkey, that might work, but it might not. I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna also say verify auto hotkey support in Windows, and that it works. So now I'm gonna do that again. Updated README. All right. I hate that I created multiple commits through that, but whatever. So now I'm gonna add that to GitHub. So with my alias, all I have to do is copy the SSH, git remote add origin, that, and then I'll check we're in the master branch. So I'll git push master, and now we're on GitHub. So I have to verify some of the usage because I kind of did this on the spot, but I think that should be good enough for now. So I think that's pretty much all I wanted to do at this point. I'll make it work with my other shows. If I make it work with an auto hotkey shortcut, then I could use it anywhere on my system. Because there's typically like however many shows are on my Plex library. And sometimes I use the media player directly. Sometimes I'll go to Plex and then view the corresponding moment. Depends on how I want to use it. But yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens from there. So I think I'm going to call it good. Looks like we went about 23 minutes above. So yeah, I guess this is my first vibe code video project. So I guess that'll be it for now. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to let me know. I'll try to get to you as soon as possible. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's it. So thanks for watching and have a good one. Peace.